Coach Meyer, President Tressel, thank you so much for being here today to support LifeTown. You've done so much for this great charity in the great state of Ohio, and both been role models to myself over the years and also the kids of LifeTown. I'm going to start with Coach Meyer. I'd like to ask you, our kids at LifeTown like to be looked at as having an equal opportunity and succeed, and we like to bring out the best in them. Tell me about a player that when you were coaching, you might not have seen something in him, but you were able to bring out the best and really became a winner.
I've had very strong feelings about that over the years, and I'm actually going to speak about that here in a minute. And that's the ultimate job of a leader, is to provide hope and opportunity to those you lead. And when does that start? It starts very early in your life. It starts when you become a parent. You know, you have to provide hope and opportunity for that child. That's, in my opinion, that's the Creator made it that way. And so when you look at what you guys do at LifeTown and what we do as a coach, is that people do come from difficult situations. That will never change. However, at some point, the leader has to show them a path and actually give them a path. But then at the end of the day, they have to make the right decisions and go do that path. So what you do at LifeTown, what we've done as coaches, I can speak for Coach Tressel because I know his career. I know what he believes in, I know what I believe in. And we were kind of raised by the same mentor, Earl Bruce, that at the end of the day, that student athlete playing for you deserves an opportunity to go live a good life. And you need to provide that for him, or not provide it for him, but provide that pathway.
Was there a certain instance when you were coaching, you were able to do something to bring out the best in a player that you thought really had not a lot of a chance to succeed, but something that you did really got him to become a winner?
Yeah, I think the great story is Mike Thomas, the highest paid receiver in NFL history right now, the best receiver in the NFL. He was really going through a really hard time. He struggled. We played his first year, got 2 catches, second year he redshirted him, not because we had a lot of talent at receiver, he wasn't good enough. And Keyshawn Johnson was his uncle, All-American and All-Pro receiver. His father's a great man. And I've had many of these meetings, and the family wanted to meet with me. And I had very transparent, honest conversation with him and told him Mike wasn't fulfilling his obligations. He wasn't working very hard. He was making excuses, and had a very honest conversation. That could have went one of 2 ways. And I've had to go the wrong way, where parents start blaming the coach or blaming circumstances or whatever. I'll never forget, Keyshawn Johnson stood up, and his father, and said, "Thank you very much," shook my hand real hard. They said, "I promise you, Coach, you'll see an instantaneous change." And they looked, and they kind of ripped Mike right in front of me. Within a week, Mike became our hardest worker. No more excuses. Became accountable for all his actions, and started doing great in school, and became a national champion player, and obviously a great player in the NFL. Why did that happen? Because of a transparent conversation and great support from his family.
That's a great story. President Tressel, has there been any instances in your coaching career as a president working with students where you were able to bring out the best in either an athlete or a student at Youngstown State?
You know, to build on a little bit of what Urban talked about, that hope and opportunity that, you know, we're called to create for all of our students, student athletes, our own children. And then the Mike Thomas story really tells, not only did they give him hope and opportunity, they showed him what it was going to take. And to me, that is so important. That's part of our leadership responsibility, is provide and then teach them how to do it. And then lastly, they've got to believe it. And I'm sure Mike Thomas, and I've admired him on TV and so forth, that there came that point in time where Mike had to believe. You know, he'd been given the hope, the opportunity. They showed him what it was going to take, and then ultimately he had to believe. It's interesting as I think back to all the kids that I coached for 37 years or whatever it was, so many of them, their favorite subject was football. And Urban and I were just talking earlier in the day that really the value of being a part of football isn't the football part of it. It's the lessons, the discipline, the work ethic, you know, picking yourself back up after you get knocked down, all of those kinds of things. And there's an important bridge to jump, I think, when the student starts thinking that they're more than just a football player. Now, we know it's their favorite thing they do. We never apologize for wanting to win. I mean, that we wanted to win. But how could we help that player believe that they were more than just a football player? Well, you ask about an example. I guess one that rings in my mind a little bit is Maurice Claret. And I know he's been great to LifeTown and done amazing things here in the community. And I recall that as he came to Ohio State, obviously he wanted to be a great running back and so forth. But I remember him telling me that he didn't have the confidence he could do anything other than football. And again, our job as coaches is, of course, make him the best football player he can be and have him help our team and all the rest. But can we prepare him for the reality that you are going to have to be more than just a football player? And then the adversity that he faced, he had to make a decision, what am I going to do going forward? And it's really been kind of a thrill to watch that everyone kind of counted him out. Everyone didn't think he would amount to much. And to watch that here his daughter, I think, is a junior at the Columbus School for Girls, and now he's got a little son that was just born in December, and all the businesses he has going on, all of the people he's touched, all of these things really had nothing to do with carrying the football. Sure, he got a little bit of a name from that, but what he grew to believe that he could do to make a difference, and now, as you know, he loves talking business and he loves trying to be a great businessman and so forth. Again, he had opportunity. He's learned through the tough road what it was going to take, and we're awfully proud of him.
Yeah, he's been a great inspiration to the kids at LifeTown. We actually had his book launch at LifeTown, and boy, did he give a good speech. But also, let me ask you, President Tressel, going through this pandemic right now and with everything going on, at LifeTown we have developed LifeTown on the Go, where we actually go to the kids' homes and we bring LifeTown to them, which is a very innovative way to keep LifeTown going. Tell me how you've been able to deal with this pandemic and give some hope to our kids how to get through, tough times like this.
I think the beginning of all this, when it really became real to us, first and foremost, we thought about the health and safety of our students, the health and safety of our employees, the health and safety of our community. And so that was job one, was to make sure we were in the right direction from that standpoint. Then the second thing we really talked a lot about is we had to become really great communicators. We needed to communicate, okay, what are we going to do going forward? We needed to communicate confidence. We needed to communicate, we're going to get through this, but we're going to need to modify what we're doing. And now, as we're trying to move forward into another academic year, allaying the fears of maybe some employees coming back to work, faculty coming back to work, students, their families. We're nervous about, as we bring students back, we want to make sure that we don't send them back out into the community to have a problem. Our faculty have done a great job. We've created 5 modalities of being able to take a class, all the way from traditional face-to-face with real spread out distancing to fully online and web-based and hybrid models in between. But one of the things that it's taught us, and we kind of knew this in football, was you better be ready for every situation. And so we've been really preparing for all the what-ifs, because we don't know what's going to happen. I think both our federal government and our state government have given us good guidance. They've given us the opportunity from some funding standpoints. But we've got to be ready for whatever is going to face us here down the road. But to me, it's been the greatest advertisement for higher education, because everyone's on the edge of their seat right now waiting for a vaccine. Well, you can be sure that whoever comes up with that vaccine is going to be someone who has gone the tough road through higher education and into the laboratory and toiled. And so it's been quite an event, just like it has for LifeTown, to try to figure it out. But there's been a little bit of excitement to it too, to see if we can win, to see if we can do it well.
Well, that's a good point, because my next question to Coach Meyer is about our theme today, celebrating winners. Tell me about a point in your career, whether on and off the field, you felt that you reached the pinnacle of winning, and just tell me how that felt and walk me through how you were able to get to that point.
Well, I was on I used to call it the 10-year sprint, where we started having great success. In my wildest dreams, I didn't imagine. I got into coaching in 1986, actually, here at Ohio State with the intent to, make an impact. I love teams. I love the sport of football. I love what the sport taught. There was really zero financial gains to get into coaching back then, and it was actually survival. And then, I learned at Ohio State, and from Woody Hayes to Earl Bruce, that was kind of my mentorship growing up, and even Bo Schembechler, and how team is greater than self. And so I believed in that, and I believed that if you could create a family atmosphere of selflessness, you could find ways to win games. And boy, we started winning. Next thing you know, you wake up at Florida with a very talented roster, actually, playing Ohio State. And that was the, probably should bring that up.
Come on, come on.
But, we win the national championship, and I remember once the confetti was done falling and media got out of your face, and I looked at one of our managers. I said, go find my father and go find Earl Bruce. Those are my two guys. My dad was everything to me, and Coach Bruce was. That was my mentor. And we sat deep in the corner of in Glendale, and I looked at him and I said, can you imagine we did this? And I said, from this point forward, that Hayes in the barn, man. We're living on free money here. I get to coach for fun the rest of my life. And that's never been untrue. That's one of the most untrue statements, because that expectation level became everything, not just mostly for me, but for everybody around me. And that wasn't healthy. That was not good, because you're not going to win every game you play. But I realized a lesson from that point forward, and that was that the team that's the most selfless wins. And I would always tell our players that we might run out of time, we'll never lose. If you would do anything for your teammate, just like a family member, well, you're not going to lose. There's a great chance we'll win every game we played. And for most part, the great teams we had were the most selfless. The ones that maybe stub their toe once in a while, there was some selfishness, because we're all humans, from me, from our staff, from players, that's seeped into the program. But when you are standing in front of 75 players getting ready to take the field, and that team will do anything for each other, there's a great chance you're going to be singing the fight song at the end of the game. And that was a great lesson.
Yeah, that goes with business too. A lot of your philosophies can carry over outside of the sports world, and I really love your style of coaching and a lot of your philosophies I follow within our company as well. President Tressel, we're going to end with the same theme, celebrating winners. Tell me about your peak winning in your career, whether it was with Ohio State or Youngstown State, or even not in the sports world, and how you were able to get there and what it felt like when you reached that pinnacle.
I found through coaching, and I guess maybe because I grew up, my father was a coach, and I knew that it was more fun when his teams won than when they didn't. But I also knew it really didn't change anything, whether we won or we lost. And so as I was a head coach for 25 years, which is kind of a long time, we had some peaks and valleys. We played for the national championship 9 times, and that's quite a few out of 25. But I don't know that there was ever a peak, because we used to always tell our staff, no matter what happened in the game, whether it was this game or the national championship, we'll see you at noon tomorrow to grade the film and get out recruiting. It's just ongoing. And I think the winning definition that we always believed in probably wasn't the football record, but how were our kids going to do as they went out into life. And so when you get those phone calls and those letters and examples of kids, and you see their families, and we were just with William White today, and you see kids that who are now out making a difference, for others. Really, at the end of the day, that's the wins. Even though we love the excitement of the games, the wins, I think, are in the people.
That's great. Well, thank you both for being here. I really appreciate everything you've done for LifeTown and everything you've done for Ohio, and appreciate it.
Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brad.